Ei taha öelda, et tegemist oleks raamatu esitlusega. Nimetame seda kui maagilist õhtut koos maagiliste inimestega ja oleme siin ühe maagilise raamatu pärast kõik koos. Kuidas aga Stefan üldse kirjastuskalluse juurde jõudis? Jällegi natukene maagiat. Kõik see juhtus umbes aasta aega tagasi raamatumessil, mis toimub ka praegu tegelikult. Ja kalluse leti juurde ja sealt hakkasid siis kõik ülejäänud maagilised sünnitused toimuma. Mille tulemus on see, miks me täna siin kõik koos oleme. Mille eest tahaksime me kõik, ma arvan, Stefanit tänada, on see, et ta tõi ka Eesti kirjandus maagilise realismi. Et selles raamatus maagia ja realism tegelikult kohtuvad. Et kõik need jutud on sellised, ma loodan, et kas kõik on lugenud juba seda raamatut? No siis täna õhtu lähete koju ja saate vaikselt lugeda. Mida veel tahaksin öelda on see, et selles raamatus on juttu ka ühest Eesti maagilisest kohast. Võib-olla mõned teavad, võib-olla mõned ei tea. Kindlasti tänasel esitlusel tuleb sellest maagilisest kohast ka juttu, et kui meil esitlus läbi on, siis nii-öelda kuulake hästi tähelepanelikult. Et pärast siis räägime, mis maagiline koht see on. Asub Eestis. Aga minu poolt praegu kõik ja lava on Stefani oma.
Aitäh, Marju, aitäh. Tere õhtust. Aitäh kõigile, et tulite täna. Ma olen väga elevil ja õnnelik. Ma arvan, et ma leidsin oma tõelise koha ja kodu. Ja oma teekonna kirjanikuna Eestis. Ja siis ma olen väga tänulik Eestile. Olen tänulik ka kirjastuse Kaalus. Aitäh Arvo ja Mari-Liis, kes ma olen näinud kuskil. Nad uskusid minusse ja nad tegid selle unenäo reaalsuseks. Tänan Kaisat, et oli täna. Tänan Tanelit, minu abikaasa. Minu kõige suurem toetus alati. Suur tänu Kait. Ja võib-olla mõned sõnad. Ma hakkasin kirjutama Tulgu öö Mehhikos palju aastat tagasi, kus ma olen sündinud. Oma lapsepolves ma mäletan kodus, meil oli suurepärane raamatukogu. Raamatud oli kõikjal. Ja ma arvan, raamatud on väga oluline osa minu elus. Minevikuses, hetkel ja tulevikuses ma olen kindel. Ma olen suur Borgesi, Cortázari, García Márquezi, Vargas Llosas ja Carlos Fuentes lugeja. Nad on Ladina-Ameerika kirjanik põlvkond. Ja ma olen päris kindel, et minu tekstid on suuresti neist mõjutatud. Suurepärane jutuvesti argentiinlane Borges. Ma mäletan intervjuus tema krititseeris romaani žanri. Tema ütles midagi nagu, miks kirjutada 500 lehte, kui on võimalik öelda sama asi 20 või 30 leheküljes ka. Ja ei tea, kas ma olen täiesti nõus, aga ma olen kindel, ma usun, et tema lood, tema luhijutud on täiuslikud ja veatud. Olen suur fänn. Ja noh, Tulgu on 14 luhijutu. Mõned luhijutud ma kirjutasin Mehhikos ja mõned ma kirjutasin Eestis, Setomaal, sest Setomaa on nagu minu teine kodu. Ma elan pool aastat Setomaal ja pool aastat Tallinnas. Ja mulle meeldib kirjutada Setomaal, sest ma arvan, Setomaa on nagu minu muusa. Ja noh, raamatust Rebase memuaarid on üks lugu, ma arvan, on väga ilus ja südamlik lugu nii lastele kui täiskasvanustele ja see on pühendatud minu kallis Setomaale. Mõned jutud on biograafilised enam-vähem. Näiteks minu nimi ei ole Javier või pole teda pärast lugemist. Kes ütles kord, ma arvan, et oli Hemingway, et kõik kirjanik kirjutab on biograafiline või midagi. Ei ole, kui on ulme või on erinevaid žanri, aga on biograafiline. Noh, ma olen nõus. Anaford mõistetus on minu lugudest võib-olla Borgese mõjutustega ja lisasin ulmeelemente nagu see Clark, Asimov, Borges, ma olen suur fänn ja mõned magilis-realistike elemente ka nagu Cortasari või Garcia Marquezi stiilis. Lugudes Pandora Centauri, Tulgu ja Tule Odisseia. Aga seal on armastusluhijutud ka nagu Damiana ja Toribio ja Musaka ja Lõhe. Ja olen päris kindel, et seal on palju tüüpilisi Mehhiko elemente ka. Ausalt minu arvates Tulgu on väga eestlane, aga väga mehhiklane ka, sest mõlemad identiteedid elavad minus. Ja võib-olla ma tahaksin lugeda väike fragment. Luhijutu on Anatfoodi mõistatus. Ei teagi, kuidas alustada jutustust kummalistest sündmustest, mis juhtusid pärast raamatu leidmist. Sellest ajast peale pole ma korralikult maga saanud. Mu rahutu meel mõtleb pidevalt sellele, kas mu praegused termised vabastavad mind või hoopis kamitsevad mind töö külge, mida suudan vaevu mõista. Kindlasti teeb see minust vaenlase nähtamatule, vaarikusse taha varjunud võimsale ühingule, mis on sajandeid salajaseks jäänud. Võib-olla nad ei teagi minu olemasolust. Kuidas nad võiksidki? Nad saavad minust aimu, kui uurivad võõrastemajas peatunud reisijate andmeid. Ma ei tea enam, kas läksin hulluks ja nägin seda kõike unes või nägi keegi teine mind unes. Äkki olen ma kõigest mõne teise inimese unenäo projektsioon. Nagu iga loo puhul pean alustama algusest. Mu peas on kõik mõtted nii sassis, et olen kahe vahel, kus on algus ja kus lõpp. Kes neid sõnu loeb, on tõsises hädavoovus. Just siinkohal oma loo alguses. Tunnen moraalset kohustust lugejad hoiatada, et järgneb see tema eluõhtu. See on parim hetk need lehed põletada. las ta tuleroaks saada, et need igaveseks häviks või et keegi jätkaks töö otsimist, mida mina ei suutnud olla. Lähe valjuv kohe, pean kilustama. Lähen kaugele, kus miski mulle seda maailma ei meenutaks ka just ja kust mind kunagi ei leitaks. Siia jätan need hirmsad sõnad, ainuüksi millele mõtlemine tekitab minus kohutava tuimapea pöörituse, mida ma kirjeldama ei hakka. Ja seal on üks veel fragment Damiana ja Toribio romans armastuslugu. Talle tundus, et ootas igavesti. Paikus, mis siiani oli paari puhul vaid õnnistuseks olnud, muutus raskeks ja südant lõhestavaks. Damiana katkestas vaikuse rõhuga kaeloogiga. Raamat kukkus maha ja jäi avatuna põrandale. Neiu tegi ühe sammu, sööstis siis noormehe suunas ja embas teda õrnalt. Neiu nägu lähenes noormehe näole ning ta jäi teda vaatama, trotslik pilk silmis. Noormees oli ikka sama pikk kui alati. Kuidas talle meeldis Toribio mehelik välimus. See meenutas suhket taamepuud. Damiana suurest vihas saikil. Toribio jäi ottama armastuse kinnitust. Sisetungivat õrnusavaldust, suhtlust, mis ometi juba katkestas selle piduliku avaloogi saanud pirnarika lõputseremoonia. Paus. Miks see paus nii pikk on? Damiana niiskekeel katkestas mõgana vaikuse. Ta laitis noormehe suusleegi, mis tõi naeretusena koju tagasi armastuse, nagu kunagi naasis koju merel kadunuks jäänud Odysseus. Aitäh!
Aitäh! Ühesõnaga, siukse raamatu kirjutasid, jah? Väga põnev. Olgugi, et see tool on väga mugav. Olen ma põhimõtteliselt siin istunud selleks, et sisse juhatada ja kutsuda vestlema autoriga Kaisa Ling.
Hallo, tere. Ja suur tänu, Stefani, mind siia kutsumast. Peaaegu ei oleks jõudnudki, aga olen siiski õnnelik, et olen jõudnud. Ja mul on see au ja rõõm nüüd üritada küsida sinu käest selliseid küsimusi, millest sa juba ei ole rääkinud ja mida sa juba ei ole siin väga kokkuvõtvalt teinud. Ja me teeme seda inglise keeles, kui teile sobib. Vahepeal ma võin teha ka kiireid kokkuvõtteid eesti keeles, kui teile sobib. So now my aim is to draw from you some of the things that you have not already very well explained in the introduction of this book, or that you haven't done at the moment. So what I would like to ask you is, what does your process look like when you write? As you've explained already here and in some of the stories, you've written those stories, some of those, a while ago already. So how do you write?
Thank you for the question, Kaisa. Well, in my case, it's a bit hectic. I sometimes have an idea, and then I just write the idea. And then later, when I feel like, okay, now I have more ideas that build upon this idea, then I write. But mostly, I mean, if I could just think out of the top of my head in which places I have written, it has been mostly in the waiting for taking a flight, in the flight where you have 12 hours and nothing else to do, or when I spend the time in settlement, there's nothing else but the window and the foxes passing back and forth, and there's so much thinking in my head. And when I was in Mexico, it was some stories I wrote when I was very young, especially there was one. And I used to be, my parents were very strict with me. And sometimes they didn't let me out I spent a lot of time grounded at home. So and sometimes it was about, you can't watch TV or you can't use the internet. You know, those times when they actually could block out the cable. So then there was nothing for me to do at home. But I mean, even under those hard regimes that I had, my parents, I don't remember my parents ever forbidding, don't read a book. And my mother always had this huge library, and then the only thing I had available was books. So then I took a book, and then I read, and then I think that at some point when you start reading, you also want to start writing. So, yeah, more or less that's how it has been.
How much do you edit your texts? Do you rewrite them many times, or is it all natural, just comes out of you as it is?
I wish I was one of those selected individuals, but no, I edit a lot. Sometimes I destroy the stories and just do it all again. And sometimes which is some of the things that happen with some of those stories, I had them there, but I was very afraid of that somebody will read it or so on. You have to fight those fears as well and just trust yourself. Yes, I think every time I read, I don't like to read my stories anymore because then I want to read more, and then it's never-ending process.
So you have a big bunch, a huge pile of stories somewhere already waiting for the next books?
Yes, definitely yes. I think the writing is mostly like a Pandora box, and especially with short stories. If you have one good idea, then it doesn't matter. You never plan, oh, it's going to be 20 pages, it's going to be 1 page, it's going to be, it doesn't matter. So I try to do that. I read this once from Garcia Marquez in one of his stories, 12 Pilgrim, the 12 Pilgrim stories. I think it was in the prologue. He wrote some about his process of how he writes, and he said that I have a good idea, and I just write it down, and I keep it for later. And then I took this from him, like, oh, well, it sounds simple, it sounds, why not? And I found it very useful.
Nii et meie ees on täiesti tavapärane kirjanik. Ta on aastakümneid varsti juba pannud lugusid kirja, alates sellest, kui ta istus kodus vanemate poolt siis pahandada saades pandi ta tuppa kinni, ta ei tohtinud kuskil minna, ainuke asi, mida ta teha võis, oli lugeda ja ajapikku hakkas ta ka kirjutama ise ja tegu on tublisti toimetava kirjanikuga, nii et kõik lood, mis teie ees on juba näinud mitmeid läbikirjutusi ja selle kirjutamisprotsess tihti toob teda kas järjekorras, lennukis, kus iganes võimalik on veidikenegi kirjutada. So you write on the phone?
No. I write on
paper
mostly. I have
paberile ja
cheap notebook with me all the time.
Pliiatsiga alati ja ta on võtnud näpunäiteid kuulsamatelt kirjanikelt, näiteks Gabriel Garcia Marqueselt, kes lühijutude kogumikus 12, mis see eesti keeles on, see on kohutavalt hea lühijutu kogumik, see on täiesti olemas eesti keeles, soovitan seda tugevasti. 12. Kuidas see on eesti keeles selle pealkiri?
Kas keegi teab?
Ei tea, ühesõnaga, kui ei ole lugenud, soovitan soojalt, see on üks ka minu suuri lemmikuid. Et tema kirjutab samamoodi, tuleb mõni mõte pähe, siis ta paneb selle kirja ja hoiab selle pärastiseks tallele, et jõuaks seda siis edasi kirjutada. And now, what is your connection or what is your relationship with your readers? Do you already have, because this is not your first book, this is your second book already that has appeared in Estonia. The first one was a non-fiction book from Mexico to Setomaa, was it like that? And you already have some sort of a relationship with your readers, do you think? Have you had any feedback? Have you met them?
I think, yes, in a way, I think it was a good idea to publish that book first, which is about my life, because I have found out through, I don't know, through the time that, or when I meet people, usually they are interested in like the part that I am from Mexico, because it's not so common that, okay, what is a Mexican doing here and living in Setomaa now writing books and translated to Estonian, how weird is that? So people, it's usually interested in the Mexican part, and then there was one lady who wrote me once that she liked very much that I was writing these things. In previous book I wrote about my life, and she said it was very nice to know this because I can see you here. It's not just like a person that I will never meet. I mean, I can search for you on Facebook and you were there, and it's just nice that I can read and also know that you're here. And this person, I don't know how she knew about my book, and this meant a lot to me. That I think this is the magic of Estonia, that is so small and in a way also so powerful. The powerful is in this smallness, if you know what I mean, because it helps to build a lot of good relationships. And well, yeah, probably I already went too far away.
It's okay, I can ask again. So, are you afraid of meeting your readers? Have you had any reviews already, like serious reviews?
For Tulgu, I don't think. Hopefully they will come. For previous book, some newspaper news, and there was some story about in the TV, in some TV programs, mostly focusing on my life story. But I think it was a good introduction for what I really want to write, which is fiction. I mean, I think this gives a book about my life story gives a very good introduction for what I really want to publish, which is ingredients.
How much do you think a writer should take into account what is written in the reviews? Is it important at all?
I don't know what is the right answer, but at least my heart tells me that no. That first you have to write for yourself. If you don't like what you write, it's like you don't believe in your work. So I'm pretty sure some will hate it. There will be some people who will love it, and then this is your people, and this is the true people you're looking for. I think this applies for any art. So I will sound too bold to say, but I think no, it shouldn't matter, because this will corrupt your true self.
Niisiis, Stefani esimene raamat Mehhikost Setomaale on juba saanud veidikene tagasisidet, on ka mõni lugeja tulnud tema juurde, üks proua, ma saan aru, juba ütles, et vaat kui tore, et me näeme, et see inimene on päriselt kirjanik ja siin meie ees. Ja jällegi kirjanikule tundub, et üks kirjanik, isegi kui tegu on debüütteosega, ei peaks ennast laskma liigselt mõjutada arvustustest ja tagasisidest, sellepärast et see võib kirjaniku tõelise hääle võib-olla isegi rikkuda. Very good. And my third kind of block of things is, what would you like to create? What is the emotion that you would like to create, or maybe the emotions that you would like to create in your readers? Do you ever think about it? Because you are an avid reader, as you said, and definitely you have noticed that reading produces a lot of emotions. This is one of the main reasons that we read all together, isn't it? Do you think about it, what your stories create in a reader?
Yeah, I connect with what I write, because in each of the stories there's something that is biographical. Probably for the reader sometimes it's not so obvious, because there are some stories that are when you read them, it's absolutely fantasy, right? How can this be biographical? But in a way, I mean, for me it was, because perhaps I'm telling a story of myself through another character or of somebody I know and so on. So I think, at least for me, when I write, I always connect something that I have lived, something that I have seen, and then it's true. And then this, in a way, then it justifies myself of why am I writing it. So, I mean, I have this idea that it's very hard to write something that you haven't felt or that you don't believe in. So, I think that when you find that is true for yourself and that you have feel it, you have seen it, you have a way to connect to it, then you're expressing those feelings there, and the reader, it's gonna get it, you know, like it translates. But if you are just telling something that you didn't feel, some third, let's say it like this. Something I've heard somewhere, something that I can really relate to, and I try to write about that. I think it's gonna show, right? The reader is not gonna connect. It's not gonna feel it. So, well, perhaps it's just a personal belief, but I believe it.
But in this book, yes, as you said, there's fantasy. There's a sense of wonder. You can feel a bit scared at times. There's even horror, might be.
For example, I wanted to mention, for example, of this one I'm explaining, in this poletada, how is the, yeah, poletada pärast lugemist. This story, it might be a bit comical, but actually it's a tragedy that kind of happened in my family.
You said something, like, let's take it back a bit, because you said in the beginning that there is some biographical material. For example, minu nimi ei ole Javier. Okay, we do understand that. There was even Dana was a character there and everything. But how does this story, tell us the story about how does, so there's a person who inhales a toxic substance and there's a robbery,
yes,
and all of this is somehow biographical. Tell us.
Yes, you can't imagine the kind of things that happen in Mexico, but is the land of surrealism. Long story short, my grandma lost all her savings because because we don't have the whole truth. It's just the police story and how we discovered the things. She's probably was in the street and somebody gave her a paper with some substance, some perfume. She smelled it, and this substance made her to do whatever the other person asked. And the other person asked, give me all your money, let's go to the bank, ask for a loan, ask for another loan, let's go to your home, give me this, give me that. And since my grandma was willing to do all that, then nobody suspected anything. She's in all the cameras of the banks, of the streets, doing what this person says, but there was no physical violence or anything. And then, next day she wakes up, she tries to go to the store, no money. What happened? She doesn't remember anything. And, well, in a way, I wrote a story, which is kind of comical when you read it. I don't know, you will tell me what's the feeling that you get about it, but in reality it was horrible. Can you imagine? I mean, really, it was poor. My grandma loved to travel, and after that, well, basically, she died 8 months later. I mean, she didn't die because of that, but she became really sad, and well, it was a tragedy. So, but I have the feeling that also Estonians are very good at this, turning their tragedies into something that they can laugh about, and in a way, it's a coping way to.
Well, we have been for a long time. I'm not sure if at the moment we're very good at it, but if we remember that we have been the people of Kavalant and other important characters, then we might get back on this road. So, all in all together, uurisin kirjaniku käest, milliseid emotsioone üritab ta oma lugejates tekitada ja kõiki neid emotsioone, mida me siit leiame, õudust, rõõmu, armastust, isegi hirmu, põnevust. Aga kõik need lood on sellepärast emotsioone täis ja ta suudab neid sellepärast edasi anda, et need on temaga päriselt biograafiliselt juhtunud. Nii-öelda autobiograafiline element nii või teisiti, loomulikult ilukirjanduslikult läbi töötatult on nendes lugudes olemas ja palas põletada pärast lugemist on sees päris tugev autobiograafiline element. Nimelt Mehhikos juhtus tõepoolest selline kohutav lugu, et tema vanaema sattus tänaval kokku kellegagi, kes andis talle mingit asja nuusutada, misjärel vanaema muutus täiesti taltsaks ja lubaski ennast paljaks röövida, käis pahalastega pangas,